Hello, welcome to a video by LSX Engines, Tuning, and Marine. In this video, I'm going to remove a harness off a 5.7 liter Mercruiser V8. This is a very odd harness I haven't come across before, so I'll describe it as I go along. So this is your alternator wiring, nothing special about that. Alternator was mounted right here on the front. That goes to the alternator. I'm going to move around. This goes to what's called your air temperature sensor. It was mounted up on the flame arrestor. This goes to a temperature sensor on the thermostat housing. It's either a sending unit. It's the sending unit for your gauge at the front. This is a coolant sensor. Yellow and black is coolant sensor for your marine fuel injection system. Come on over. This was the wires that connected to the reservoir for the gear oil. That's your gear oil alarm system. Coming back over here, you've got your throttle body harness or throttle body injectors right here. This is your throttle position sensor connector here. Then you got your idle air control motor here. I'm not going to disconnect everything. I'm just going to discuss where it goes for now. And again, so the harness wraps around the front up in here. This is a vacuum line going to something. I'll figure that out. I believe this vacuum line went to the fuel, remote fuel cooler. It has a pump and a fuel cooler down on the side of the block, and I believe that's a vacuum line going to that. This vacuum reference. So here's your harness coming out, and then it comes back around. And this is your knock sensor wire. This went to the knock sensor, which has already been removed out of the block down there. But this is a knock sensor. Recognize that's a knock sensor connector. So it comes out of here like so. Looks like this harness with the loom, all this loom is fuel injection related. This is a fuel pressure sensor. Fuel pressure sensor. I've never seen this before. That's why I said this is unusual. So this is mounted where the return line would normally be on your fuel system. So this is a returnless throttle body. So all your return is done locally down at the fuel cooler. The fuel cooler is mounted low on the block on the, I guess what I call a driver's side. So that's a fuel pressure sensor. And coming along, like I said, this loom runs here underneath the distributor, runs around, and ends up over here where your connections for your MEFI computer were, which is right here. All this other stuff is just extra. Well, this went to your ignition module, which is right there. And that was covered up, no big deal there. This comes off the fuel injection harness. This was your fuel pump power. So that's what powers up the fuel pump. Then you got a wire leading back from the fuel pump coming up here. And all it does is go into this some kind of diagnostic connector or something. But it ultimately ends up going back to your MEFI computer. Then in the front, you've got your 10-pin data link. This is the marine version of an ALDO connector. And that's it for the fuel injection harness. Now, what makes this thing odd, normally your ignition module will get a signal from the distributor here, and then the fuel injection system through this connector attached there will get all its signals from that needs to run the system. This system is unique in that this is a Mercruiser specific distributor, and these wires here, which I'll have to trace down in a minute. These two wires right here apparently are going to the computer as a signal as an RPM signal for this system. I have not seen that before. And then the computer turns on your coil through this wire here. The ignition module fires the coil, but it's done remotely. So if you can tell, I'm a little bit confused by all this, but I'll figure it out. So anyway, that's the fuel injection side of things. Then you've got this, like I said, this is the fuel injection system. I'll pull it off first. What will be remaining is the power side of this harness. So the power side's got your circuit breaker right there, and then a starter relay. I believe that's starter relay because it's got, this yellow-red wire is universal for the starter. That's coming from your ignition switch. That was turned on this relay, which turns on your starter. So all the way down here, that's your starter. Here's the red. There's your yellow-red wire. That's what actually makes the solenoid come on. But it's turned on by that solenoid right there. So that's the power side of the harness. and it's not in loom. It's wrapped in black electrical tape. And so this is your boat harness. This is your boat, the harness where it connects into the boat, goes up to your ignition switch and comes back. Goes up as a red, I think red with a purple stripe, comes back as a, the starter is yellow red, and the ignition will be purple. So all that's going to come off in a second. And I believe that's it. Oh, by the way, the starter's down here, part of the power system. Again, you got your knock sensor as part of the fuel injection as a separate harness. If there's anything else I missed, I'll do another video in a separate segment. Continue with the harness removal. We have now removed the fuel injection side of the harness, and now we're removing the power harness. So this has a connector to your oil. This is your oil alarm system, I believe. Pretty sure it is. I'd have to check the color of the wires to find out for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's your oil. It's just an oil switch for your oil alarm system. This is a connector that has a loop in it. There's nothing connected to that. These two wires here went to I'm not sure what they went to. Oh, I think they might have gone to the trim. I'll figure that out later. I want to say tilt trim, but I think so. This is a connector, your main power to your, no, I'm sorry, this is a connector for your, that purple's ignition, and I see a few other things down there. These go from your power system over to your fuel injection system. This is the main power to your fuel injection system. Remember, you got a red with a purple stripe, so that's the main power over to the fuel injection. So we've already loosened the black bracket for the power harness because it was holding the fuel injection harness in the way, or it was in the way of holding the fuel injection harness. So the only thing we got to do now to finish getting this power harness off is take off the wires leading to the fuse breaker and the starter solenoid. And to do that, I'm probably just going to take off the, there's a bracket underneath the throttle body there. So I'll probably just take the throttle body off and leave that bracket with all the stuff attached to it and make it simple. And that's it. That's all there is to the power harness. Just go around and see what's going on here. Nothing. Again, that went up to the alternator. So yeah, so pretty straightforward. This was the connector to the ignition harness. This went to the fuel injection harness for your distributor signal. And that's it for the harness. Thanks for watching.